Hey everyone, Poindexter here. We've arrived at the last week of September, and for the first mission this week, we're going to attempt to finish off another oil target so we can successfully fulfill the requirements of our current secondary mission. So, let's get started. Before we receive our weekly SO points, we need to do a minor bit of housekeeping. When the 93rd Bomb Group was promoted to average last week, it gained the ability to generate a replacement aircraft at the end of every week. Since we failed to perform that step, we'll go ahead and do it now. We remove 1 damage point from the 93rd, and they now have 2 damage points. We start the week off with 6 SO points, and we add our weekly allotment of 15, but we remove 3 points because of the remaining U-boat, for a final total of 18. Our first mission will be against Oil Storage Facility 1 in France. This target is located in Hex 9 and is covered by 1 Luftwaffe squadron. A maximum of 3 bombers are allowed for this target. Flak over the target is relatively light, and we have a +2 air-to-ground modifier to help us out. 11 hits are required to destroy the facility. For this mission, we're going to take the 97th, the 91st, and the 305th bomb groups, and the 4th Fighter Group as escort. These are some of our most experienced groups, and we'll want to use them to give us better odds of destroying this target in one trip. We're going to spend 9 SO points to purchase 9 M43 bombs, and arm all 3 groups with them. While we could take an incendiary bomb for this target, I'm banking that the M43s should be enough to destroy it without them. Let's hope that's the case. We'll place our mission markers on the main map and our group counters on the tactical. We roll for the German response, and it's a 5, modified to 3, which is a poor response. Our bomber force forms up over England, and we draw an event card. The draw is Combined Bomber Operations, and we add 3 damage points to the target, which will make our job of destroying the facility that much easier. The groups cross the French coast and arrive over the oil facility. 1 German squadron is activated, and we draw an ME-410. This bandit will attack for the maximum 3 rounds. Our Spitfire escort will engage the bandit and will attack first using Anderson's out-of-the-sun tactic. The 4th Fighter Group has a +3 modifier. We add +3 for the out-of-the-sun and a +1 for the 410's negative durability rating, for a final +7 modifier. The Spitfires dive in for the attack, and the roll is a 6. More than enough to destroy the bandit. The 4th received 1 experience point, and we move the bandit's disrupted counter to 1. The Spitfires reach their range limit and turn back for home. The squadron marker is flipped to its rearming side, with a 1 at the top, and our bomber groups line up for their bomb runs. The 97th flies through a flak barrage, and it misses on a roll of 5, modified to 4 for B-17 durability. The 97th will attack with a +1, and we add +2 for the target, for a final +3 modifier. B-17s drop their bombs. And it's a good strike. 1 bomb misses on a modified 4, but 2 hit on a 10 and 12 for 4 points of damage. The 91st is up next, and she flies through a flak barrage. and it's ineffective on a roll of 1, modified to 0. The 91st will be bombing with a +2 target modifier. The B-17s drop their bombs. And it's just enough to destroy the facility. 1 bomb misses on a modified 4, but 2 bombs strike with their maximum values on an 8 and 10. 4 points of damage are added. With 11 hits, the oil storage facility is destroyed. Regardless, the 305th have a delivery to make. They fly through a flank barrage, and it misses on a 3, modified to 2. The 305th bombs with a +1, and we add +2 for the target, for a final +3. The B-17s loose their bombs. The 305th add 3 more damage points to the target, on hits of 11 and 6. 1 bomb misses on a 4. We're awarded 2 victory points for the destruction of the oil facility. With that, our secondary mission requirements have been fulfilled, as we have destroyed a total of 7 oil victory points. As a result, all bandit attack turns will be limited to 1 for the month of October, which will greatly weaken their effectiveness. We also add a +3 modifier to the Mediterranean theater. Our groups turn for home, and we draw an event card. The card is Germans Want Revenge. We'll have to re-roll for the Luftwaffe response and add +3 to the result. Fortunately, we roll a 1, modified to 4, and the German response remains at poor. We make our way back to the French coast, and the rearming German squadron is flipped back to active. They will not be able to mount another attack thanks to the poor response level. And our boys land safely once again. All the bomber groups that flew this mission gain 2 experience points, and the 4th Fighter Group gains 3 points. 2 of our bomber groups gain another experience level thanks to the destruction of the target. The 97th is now skilled, and the 91st is veteran. Our 2 victory points gives us a total score of 24. Our second mission for this week will be against Airfield 11 in Vannes, France. This airfield is located in Hex 8 and is worth 3 victory points. The plan is to take the fight to the Germans by flying directly over Hex 10, which has a German squadron. If we're lucky, a bandit will be sent against our groups. If we destroy this bandit, it will move the bandit's disrupted counter to 2. Then, when we destroy the airfield, we'll gain 3 more victory points, be able to move the disrupted counter to 5, and remove another German squadron from the map. To make certain that we maximize our chances for a bandit intercept, we'll return directly over Airfield 10 after the bombing run. By this time, the airfield will be active again, and will perform another bandit intercept. With an unescorted bomber group looking for a fight against the Luftwaffe, we could take some significant losses. But this is the last week of the month, and the last mission, so whatever losses we incur will be replaced quickly with reinforcements during the end of the month phase. The 92nd will lead the mission, followed by the 93rd and the 301st. We'll arm all the bombers with M30s and place our counters on the map. We roll for the German response, and it's a 10, modified to 8, a high response. It looks like we didn't need to work this hard to go after the Luftwaffe, as they are already prepared to come after us. Our groups form up over England, and we draw an event card. The card is Fighter Miscommunications. Since there is no fighter group escorting our bombers, we ignore the card. Our groups cross the Normandy coast, and 2 German squadrons are activated. And the intercept is completely ineffective, as we draw 2 no bandit counters. The squadron in Hex 10 is flipped to its rearming side, with a 1 at the top, while the further out squadron in Hex 9 is flipped with a 3 at the top. Our groups move into the target area, and the squadron in Hex 10 becomes active again, while the one in Hex 9 is rotated to 2. The 92nd Group is first over the target, and they fly through a flak barrage, 2 dice that hit on an 8 or higher. The rolls are 2 and 6, modified to 1 and 5 for durability. The 92nd will bomb with a +2 modifier for the target, and +2 for the M30s, for a final +4 modifier. The bomb group salvos their bomb load, and it's a solid hit. All bombs hit on modified 8, 13, and 9, for 4 points of damage. The B-24s of the 93rd are up next, and they weather a flak barrage. And the flak gunner finds the range on rolls of 8 and 9. The 93rd takes 3 more points of damage, which knocks their status level to shaken. The 93rd will bomb with a +2 for the target, +2 for the M30s, and -1 for being shaken, for a final +3 modifier. The group calls bombs away. And it's an effective strike. 3 bombs hit on an 8, 9, and 11, with 1 miss on a 4. 4 more points of damage are added to the target. The rookies of the 301st bring up the rear, and they fly through a flak barrage. And the flak gunners miss on a 2 and 7, modified to 1 and 6 for durability. The 301st will bomb with a -1 air-to-ground modifier, a +2 for the target, and +2 for the M30s, for a final +3 modifier. The 301st salvo their bombs. And it's just enough. 2 bombs hit on modified 10s, and 1 misses on a 7. 4 hits are scored for a total of 12 damage points, and the airfield is destroyed. We gain 3 victory points, and we move the bandits' disrupted counter to 4. The bomber groups turn for home, and we draw an event card. And we draw choppy weather. We'll have to perform formation checks for all groups during every movement step on the way back. The numbers in the bottom left of the group cards tell us what number we'll have to roll to remain in formation. Groups that are out of formation are more vulnerable to German attacks. Our groups move to Hex 10, and we roll for formation checks. And only the 93rd remains in formation. The 2 group counters are flipped to their dispersed side. We rotate the squadron in Hex 9 to 1, and we draw 1 bandit counter for the squadron in Hex 10. An FW-190 is drawn and will attack for 2 turns. We roll for bandit placement, and it's a 9. The bandits will be going after the dispersed rookies of the 301st. The bomber group is slow, so the bandit will attack first. The 190 fires, and misses wide on a 1, modified to 0. The 301st would normally attack with a +1 air-to-air modifier, but since the group is dispersed, we add a -2 modifier for a final -1 result. Furthermore, when we add the bandit's positive durability modifier of 1, it adds another -1 for an overall -2 modifier. In short, even if we roll a perfect 10, it will be impossible for the 301st to score any hits against the bandit. Regardless, we'll play the combat out to its conclusion. The 301st fires, and also misses on a 1. The 190 takes one last shot at the 301st, and it misses again on a 3, modified to 2 for B-17 durability. The 301st fires back and misses on a 2, modified to 0. All the attack runs have been completed, and we place the 190 back into the bandit mix. We flip the squadron counter to its rearming side. Since there will be no more bandit attacks, we'll forego rolling for formation checks, and we'll land our bombers at the UK base. We remove the destroyed airfield, and we draw a new airfield replacement card. Finally, we move the week marker to month end, and that completes our missions for the week. Also, the 93rd group gets 1 replacement point, so the damage marker is changed from 5 to 4. The 93rd, 92nd, and 301st all receive 2 experience points for the destruction of the airfield, and we gain 3 victory points, for a total of 27. One more mission, and the 92nd and 301st will be promoted to the next experience level. Though we failed to destroy enough bandits to remove another German squadron from the game, the successful completion of our secondary mission will mitigate that somewhat for the month of October, as we will see shortly. Beginning our monthly sequence of play, we first evaluate our secondary mission. As we already know, we have successfully fulfilled the mission requirements of destroying at least 7 oil target victory points. The bonus effect is applied throughout the next month, but the theater modifier is only applied for the current month. We remove our current secondary mission card, along with any remaining mission target cards, and we draw a new secondary mission card and place it face up on the card pile. Our new mission is U-Boat Operations 2. Great, more U-boats. We are to draw 3 U-boat target cards from U-boat targets 1 through 6. These cards are actually split between 2 target types, U-boat pins and U-boat ports. There are 4 U-boat pin cards that comprise targets 1 through 4, while the U-boat port cards are targets 5 and 6. However, we are playing a 1942 campaign, and, as per the rules, no German-based targets are allowed during this year. So, we will remove the 2 German U-boat cards from the pile, we'll shuffle the 4 remaining cards, and place 3 of them in the target card area. With the U-boat pins having the hardened trait, these targets are going to be a tough nut to crack, but we'll worry about that later. Now we move on to German defense adjustments. Before we roll for theater advancement, we need to take into account any die roll modifiers. Since we successfully completed our previous secondary mission, we add a +3 modifier to the Mediterranean theater dice roll. However, there is 1 German squadron present from the previous month, so we subtract 1 from the dice roll for a final +2 modifier. The Med Theater will advance on a modified 9 or greater. We roll a 3, modified to 5, and the Med Theater remains in Morocco. We replace the +3 Med counter with the standard marker. Now we'll roll for the USSR Theater. With 1 German squadron present, we add a -1 modifier to the die roll, meaning we'll need to roll a 10 to advance to the theater. We roll an 8, modified to 7, and the USSR marker remains at Stalingrad. With our die rolls complete, we remove the Luftwaffe squadron counters from the theater map. We'll now place new Luftwaffe squadrons. The Germans have a total of 9 supply points, so we'll be adding 9 squadrons to the map. Our Luftwaffe theater deployment is the same as last month. A 1 is always the Luftwaffe Reserve. Rolling a 2 will place a squadron in the Mediterranean theater, and rolling a 3 or 4 will place a squadron in the USSR. Anything 5 or higher will be deployed to Europe. Also, Our German commander has a +1 Western Theater Deployment modifier, so we will add 1 to all dice rolls. To save time, I won't show every single placement roll, but if you want more detail into how this part of the game works, check out mission video number 4 for much greater detail. So, after rolling for all 9 squadrons, this is the final result. 6 squadrons will head to Europe, 2 will head to the USSR, and 1 will head to the Mediterranean. Now we roll for the placement of the 6 European squadrons. And this is the final result. It appears the Germans have plugged the gaps in their defense, and our groups will have a harder time of it going forward. At this point, we check for any active German technologies, but since this campaign has none, we proceed to the new German commander check. Schroer will be replaced on a roll of 8 or higher, but the roll is a 6, and Schroer remains in command. We now check for any group reassignments, but as none of our groups have a reassigned number, they will remain in play for the next month. Next, we apply our 12 monthly replacement points toward any damaged groups. We have a total of 7 damage points to replace, so all of our groups are now back to full strength once again. Finally, we update our calendar markers for the new month, and our month-end phase is complete. Our score sits at 27. We're no longer in the dismal range, but we still have a way to go to at least make it to the good range. That concludes another month in B-17 Flying Fortress Leader. The Germans have more squadrons than ever on the map, but thanks to our successful secondary mission last month, they'll be limited to 1-turn attacks. Hopefully that will be enough to keep them from causing us too much damage. We'll also be purchasing more groups this upcoming month and attempt some missions against the U-boat pens, which will need some very big bombs. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk again soon.